Herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Folge Star Citizen. Ich bin Micha301 und willkommen auf meinem Kanal. Willkommen auch meine liebe Community, die wieder Zuwachs bekommen hat. Willkommen an Bord. Schön, dass ihr alle da seid. Und natürlich auch alle Sci-Fi-Fans begrüße ich und alle Star Citizen Begeisterte. Es gibt folgende Neuigkeit. Ihr habt es bestimmt schon gehört. Die Raumstation wird abgerissen. Also die Raumstation Port Olisar über Horizon. Ich finde das mega schade. Ganz ehrlich. Weil es die einzigste Raumstation ist im Orbit eines Planeten, die einen vernünftigen Waffenshop hat und die einen vernünftigen Anzugshop hat, also Panzerung und so. Auf allen anderen Raumstationen im Orbit eines Planeten, also auf den anderen Planeten quasi, gibt es das nicht so in dem Maße. Ja, es war immer die Raumstation, wo man sich am besten versorgen konnte. Bis auf Medic. Ja, also die Medic-Station hat immer gefehlt. Das muss ich ehrlich zugeben. Das war schon nervig. Aber alles andere war da. Man konnte sogar Schiffswaffen kaufen. Schiffswaffen, Schiffskomponenten etc. Ich finde das mega schade. Aber gut, ne? Sie wollen das ja mit den Traktorstrahlen und dass wir unsere Schiffe selber beladen. Und diese Raumstation hatte kein Cargo-Deck quasi, ne, wo man Fracht annehmen konnte. Und da fehlte auch, glaube ich, so einiges andere, wie zum Beispiel die Docking-Ports oder so. Ich glaube, die fehlten auch. Aber schade finde ich es trotzdem. Ja. Es wäre schön gewesen, wenn sie die Landepads, die ja auch sehr praktisch waren und die kurzen Wege, wenn sie die irgendwie in die neue Raumstation wenigstens mit integriert hätten. Und bei den Shops wissen wir es ja noch nicht, aber das wäre schön gewesen. Wäre die Raumstation zwar ein bisschen größer geworden, noch ein bisschen länger, aber das wäre ja egal gewesen. Schöne Grüße an die Performance. Ja. Ich lasse mich überraschen. Werde aber sicherlich die alte Raumstation vermissen. Ganz ehrlich. So, wir sind angekommen. Jetzt fragt ihr euch sicherlich, was mache ich hier im Pressure? Ihr werdet denken, macht er wieder Bunker? Ja, schon. Aber ich möchte mal so einen Guide machen für den FPS Kampf für Neueinsteiger in das Spiel, wie man da so am besten durchkommt. Würde mich jetzt nicht wundern, wenn es der Vorführeffekt wäre und ich gleich sterbe. Direkt erschossen werde oder so. Nein, ich wollte mal so einen schnellen Guide machen für Einsteiger, die vielleicht neu im Spiel sind und sich das vielleicht noch nicht getraut haben bisher. Mit den Bunkern. Denke ich, mache ich das mal. So, fangen wir mal an. Also erstmal solltet ihr ein kleines Schiff nehmen, selbst wenn ihr größere und bessere habt. Ne, so eine Pisces reicht völlig aus. Ihr könnt ja auch eine SCU-Kiste reinstellen. Sie hat ja 4 SCU Frachtkapazität. Ne. Hier passen 2 rein, dort passen 2 rein. Ja, was habe ich wieder gemacht? Ich habe wieder meinen Helm vergessen. Typisch. Ich werde das mal kurz hier schneiden und bin gleich wieder zurück. Bis gleich. So, ihr Lieben, ich bin angekommen. Ich musste nur kurz nach Port Olisar. Natürlich. Dort hatte ich noch so ziemlich alles. Ja. Als erstes solltet ihr euch eine Rüstung besorgen, die 40% des eingehenden Schadens absorbiert. Das wäre vielleicht wichtig. Dann solltet ihr euch unbedingt rote Heilungsdinst besorgen und diese auch anlegen an die Rüstung. Könnt ruhig alle 4 mit den Heilungsdinst, alle 4 Plätze mit den Heilungsdinst belegen. Ja, was ist noch zu sagen? Eine Medigun braucht ihr. Eine Medigun ist wichtig. Deshalb, weil die kann mehr Schaden reparieren. Warum dann noch die Heilungsdinst? Ganz einfach, die Heilungsdinst sind meistens schneller parat als die Medigun. So, ich glaube, ich bin hinten gelandet. Aber macht ja nichts, die fangen ja nicht ohne mich an. Das ist diese 60.000er Mission, die mittlere quasi. Ihr bekommt satte 60.000 Alpha-USC für die Mission. Aber gehen wir erstmal rein. So, was ihr noch braucht, zwingend, was heißt zwingend? Wenn ihr überleben wollt, ist es angebracht, einen Schalldämpfer, einen passenden. Ich erkläre es am besten so, dass es auch solo spielbar ist. Wir haben hier, glaube ich, eine ziemlich gute Serverrate. Server-FPS. So wie ich das mitgekriegt habe. Es könnte schwierig werden. Dieser sogenannte Vorführeffekt könnte tatsächlich eintreten. Ich habe jetzt die Kustodien ausgewählt, 60 Schuss Magazin. Das sollte reichen. Schalldämpfer ist drauf, alles klar. Bleibt ruhig erstmal hier hinter. Kiste verpackt, wie immer. Und wartet ruhig erstmal ein bisschen ab. Die Zeit läuft sowieso erstmal hier oben. Könnt ihr die Zeit sehen? Bis die nächsten eintreffen. Es kommen immer 6 Gegner. Und das ist die erste Welle und 3 Wellen gibt es. Also 3 mal 6, 18 Gegner insgesamt. Plus die 60.000. 500 gibt es für jeden erledigten Gegner. Das lohnt sich schon. Habt ihr 69.000 oder so? Wenn ich das jetzt so richtig über den Daumen gepeilt habe. So, Also knapp 70.000, das ist doch schon in Ordnung. Lasst ruhig die erstmal so ein bisschen die Arbeit machen. Vielleicht hat einer von denen noch einen Laserpointer, den wir abgreifen können. Das wäre schon mal nicht schlecht. Nehmt euch Zeit für die Mission. Wenn ihr alleine seid. Ja, wenn ihr zu zweit seid, da könnt ihr auch vorrücken. Aber wenn ihr alleine seid, dann lieber abwarten. Die laufen euch schon irgendwann vor die Flinte. Und wenn nicht, könnt ihr immer noch irgendwann rausgehen. Aber vorsichtig. Achtet auch auf hier oben. Hier oben die Brücke, die dort entlang läuft. Und haltet euch möglichst außen. Möglichst weit außen. Hier ist auch ein Fahrstuhl. Glaube ich. Scheint oben zu sein. Der ist zu, der Fahrstuhl. Da ist noch eine Kiste. Das war Nummer 1. Noch 4. Nummer 2. Ja, ich bin schlechter Schütze. Die hat aber jetzt gut abgehalten, die Rüstung. Ihr seht, das geht ruckzuck mit den Stints. Ja, jetzt backt er wieder rum. Mir gedacht, dass hier ein Eingang ist. Da ist noch einer. Das war's, die erste Welle ist durch. Einen kann man noch rausfeuern. Als nächstes gehen wir hier rein und gehen hier hinter in Deckung. Na, ich nehme lieber die, da kann ich weiter reinrutschen zur Not. Wenn ihr keinen Schalldämpfer drauf habt, dann kommen die alle angerannt. Und so könnt ihr sie schön alle nach und nach ausschalten. Rennt nicht gleich raus. Manchmal dauert es auch ein paar Sekunden, bis der Fahrstuhl aufgeht. Ihr seht's. Aha, ich habe nicht gerechnet. Da steht noch einer. So, sind nur noch 2 übrig. Bleibt schön in Deckung. Auch wenn es verlockend ist mit den Kisten, lasst das erstmal. Ich glaube, das ist unten. Der ist zu. Immer schön außen bleiben. Dann können die auch von unten nicht nach oben schießen. Da ist einer. Und unten ist noch einer. Perfekt. Ich werde mal schnell ein bisschen nachladen. So geht es doch schneller. So, mittlerweile sind auch, glaube ich, doch ein Verbündeter lebt noch. Wie es aussieht. Jetzt machen wir das gleiche Spielchen nochmal. Im Moment haben wir genug Zeit. In die Kiste könnten wir noch reingucken. Ach ja, die nehmen wir noch mit. Was haben wir hier? Oxypen. Okay. Was ist das andere? Detox. Ne, Oxypen können wir mal mitnehmen. Meistens braucht man sie ja nicht. Gott sei Dank. Das wird sich aber auch irgendwann ändern. Okay, das war nur einer. Dann spawnen die anderen woanders. Hoffentlich schafft er das da unten. Jetzt machen wir die gleiche Runde nochmal, wie eben. Das reicht, glaube ich, nicht mir. Die sind unten. Die kommen jetzt rauf. Sie haben den letzten Sicherheitsmann erschossen. Übrigens, die meisten Mäuse, also ich spiele ja mit der Maus, haben so einen Schalter, wo man die Geschwindigkeit erhöhen kann, eine zweite Geschwindigkeitsstufe. Nutzt die, dann habt ihr es mit dem Zielen einfacher, es geht schneller. Ich sag ja, die kommen jetzt hoch. Durch den Schalldämpfer verliert die Kugel natürlich auch ein bisschen an Energie. Da kommt der nächste. Da oben ist noch einer. Oh, das war knapp, würde ich sagen. Ich habe nicht damit gerechnet. Ganz ehrlich nicht. Also ihr könnt euch nicht auf den Marker verlassen. Ups. Wow! Jetzt ging mir aber auf Grundeis. Ihr wisst sicher, was ich meine. Aber jetzt mal ohne Quatsch. Jetzt müsste mein Arzt mal meinen Blutdruck messen. Leute. Ich habe ja gesagt, wir haben eine recht gute Server-FPS. Oh, mein armes Herz. Das ist leider eine Tier 3 Verletzung. Joi. Gleich equippen. Das gleiche hier. Ich weiß gar nicht, wie viel habe ich genommen? Ich glaube 3 Stück oder so insgesamt. Ja. 3 waren es auf jeden Fall. Dritten. Der hatte auch nur so eine einfache Maschinenpistole. Das brauchen wir demnächst nicht machen, sie leer zu schießen. Die Patronen können wir demnächst aufheben und wir können 2 angebrochene Magazine, also das eine in das andere umfüllen, was ich absolut nice finde. Daumen hoch dafür, CIG, jetzt ohne Mist. Das ist mal richtig gut. Das hier ist übrigens eine Waffe, die ich sehr gerne spiele. Ach, die ist verbuggt. Die P4. Und zwar aus einem ganz bestimmten Grund, kann ich euch sagen. Die hat nämlich Dauerfeuer, zum einen, aber das könnt ihr noch umschalten, und zwar in so ein Impulsfeuer, also 3 Schussfolge, glaube ich. Und ihr könnt es noch auf Einzelschuss sogar umschalten. Das ist das einzigste Gewehr im ganzen Spiel, was diese 3 Wahlmöglichkeiten hat. Ne? Dauerfeuer, Salve und Einzelfeuer. Gibt kein anderes Gewehr, was das hat. So, und den Zielfernrohr nehmen wir natürlich noch mit. Klar, ich will mich ja neu ausstatten. In diesem Guide. Ich hätte jetzt sicherlich auch noch eine 4. Welle geschafft. Aber am Ende war es doch ganz schön knackig. Wenn die Server-FPS einigermaßen stimmt, dann ist das schon ganz schön heftig. Schade, keiner von den Wachen hatte irgendwie einen Laserpointer oder so. Die hatten alle nur diese krummen Gewehre. Die ist verbuggt. Ja, dann können wir, glaube ich, rausgehen. Wir müssten eigentlich alles haben. Und wenn nicht, ist es auch nicht schlimm. Hier noch was? Achso, die hat man schon. Die war auch verbuggt. Manchmal steht hier hinten noch eine oder hier oben drauf irgendwo noch eine. Aber ist jetzt auch nicht der Fall. Ja, dann können wir verschwinden. Und endlich einen Arzt aufsuchen. Das soll es für den FPS Guide gewesen sein. Wenn ihr noch Fragen habt dazu, schreibt es ruhig gerne in die Kommentare. Ansonsten wünsche ich euch ein schönes Wochenende. Bleibt gesund. Bis zum nächsten Video. Euer Micha 301. Ciao.
I've got faith in you, Kronzi. You can do this.
Oh, I appreciate that, Red. I appreciate it. It is a very, very daunting task, especially because, you know, what if they don't understand my Australian accent, right? What if they don't understand what I'm saying go? It's really hard to tell what's going to happen here. But I know what is going to happen, and that's some explosions.
And, you know, the other thing is, are they expecting kind of the Guy Fieri misdirection from, you know, he kind of sneaks it in there in a regular sentence and half the people get it and run off, or what do we do? And I will say that Australian accent, notably one of the more difficult to decipher for us Americans. But, you know, I think they'll do. They'll do. Yeah.
Wow. The truth comes out. Red hates me. I told you guys.
Okay.
I told you.
I'm getting
all
canceled.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, it is about time. Are you all ready? Are you ready, Red? Are you excited?
Got my water. We're ready to see this. I am ready to see the first group of explosions right off this bat. And start seeing some of those top 20 pulling away from the pack.
Definitely. All right, let's get going, guys. Alrighty, racers. I've been told you're all ready to participate in the biggest race in Star Citizen history. So on go. We'll get you guys to head off. So in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Go, 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 go!
Get out! Let's see these guys
Now,
off the
obviously, there's
racetrack.
a little bit of a delay.
It's all right. We see a couple of explosions already. 5 or 6, 7, 8. Wow. It's a battle out of the trenches. We see one vehicle up in front. He's pulling 360s in front of everyone, just flaunting it.
Yeah, yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
Is
What
that
actually might have
desync or
happened?
just
Not
that was
necessarily. They may have
fantastic.
lost a wheel and have been propelled by an explosion or something. I'm not sure. We're gonna see. It looks like they're still spinning from a different
They
camera
are
angle.
still
I think
spinning.
they actually are spinning. That is fantastic.
That could be very difficult. They may have gone vertical now. That was a flat spin across the ice there.
Look.
One lost wheel.
I can't speak. What the hell happened?
It is very helpful for those racers out there with their headlights on, getting to see the directionality. Obviously, not everyone needs to, and it is daylight, so a lot of great visibility. You see the occasional boosts, that timing based on who's boosting when. There is no drift physics in Star Citizen. Oh, and we just had a rear collision.
Ooh.
Could be chalked up to desync.
Yeah, very much so. There is drift physics, but not really with the Cyclone RC. It has so much grip that it just doesn't care. So you're able to basically turn with it on a dime, kind of like, you'll see F1 cars do similarly. And look at this. This is already another collision there. Now, a lot of these collisions luckily won't be fatal. So we will just see some of these collisions result in people just getting pushed a little bit further back. But we have never seen something like this. This looks absolutely insane.
Man.
Look at all these Cyclone RCs. A couple of wheels coming off some Cyclones there. It is going to be
now we get
very
into the
hard to figure out
icebergs.
who's actually winning here.
Yeah, we get into the icebergs. These create
Look at that
national
explosion.
choke points. All the explosions, the natural choke points going through these icebergs as folks try and run a line cleanly and avoid the other racers here. There's just so much going on, and obviously with the ice, some of the slick physics, those folks that are up ahead obviously have an advantage, but obviously you'll hit the side there.
I'm loving the spinning to win. I'm loving it. So what's happening there, guys, for reference, is they're losing a wheel, and then they're either being put in their side or whatnot, and that's causing them to spin with the way that the friction physics work. So that's what we're seeing there. And I think that's actually Noble at the back that we can also see spinning to win. This has been a crazy start to the race, and I could not tell you who is winning. I think I saw Endermaster somewhere towards there in the front pack. It's really going to come down to when we actually get into the city area before we know where everyone is sort of positioned. But amazing.
Over the ice here is going to be really hard to create any separation, like you said. Folks are going to just boosting, doing mostly a straight line, avoiding the few obstacles here and there, a couple of natural choke points. We're coming up on the first turn. As we see this black rock, they've got to all pull around the edge of the 3 trees where that final package has been placed. See somebody pulling that just a little tight, and we'll hopefully see that going in as they maneuver towards the city now. Slightly less debris as they go in this route, but they will have to be very, very careful coming in, not to hit any of those small. Some of this terrain is it's very deceptive. It looks like it's going to be minimal, but it will launch you on your side. That's what we're seeing with a lot of these spin maneuvers. And you can't Beyblade your way through this one. It's 3 full laps.
Yeah, one thing that was
I've got faith in you, Kronzi. You can do this.
Oh, I appreciate that, Red. I appreciate it. It is a very, very daunting task, especially because what if they don't understand my Australian accent, right? What if they don't understand what I'm saying? Go. It's really hard to tell what's going to happen here. But I know what is going to happen, and that's some explosions.
And the other thing is, are they expecting kind of the Guy Fieri misdirection from he kind of sneaks it in there in a regular sentence, and half the people get it and run off, or what do we do? And I will say that Australian accent, notably one of the more difficult to decipher for us Americans. But I think they'll do. They'll do. Yeah.
Wow. The truth comes out. Red hates me. I told you guys.
Okay.
I told you.
I'm getting
all
canceled.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, it is about time. Are you all ready? Are you ready, Red? Are you excited?
Got my water. We're ready to see this. I am ready to see the first group of explosions right off this bat, and start seeing some of those top 20 pulling away from the pack.
Definitely. All right, let's get going, guys. Alrighty, racers. I've been told you're all ready to participate in the biggest race in Star Citizen history. So on go. We'll get you guys to head off. So in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, 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 go!
Get out! Let's see these guys
Now,
off the
obviously, there's
racetrack.
a little bit of a delay.
It's all right. We see a couple of explosions already. 5 or 6, 7, 8. Wow. It's a battle out of the trenches. We see one vehicle up in front. He's pulling 360s in front of everyone, just flaunting it.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
Is
What
that
actually might have
desync or
happened?
just?
Not
that was
necessarily. They may have
fantastic.
lost a wheel and have been propelled by an explosion or something. I'm not sure. We're gonna see. It looks like they're still spinning from a different
They
camera
are
angle.
still
I think
spinning.
they actually are spinning. That is fantastic.
That could be very difficult. They may have gone vertical now. That was a flat spin across the ice there.
Look.
One lost wheel.
I can't speak. What the hell happened?
It is very helpful for those racers out there with their headlights on, getting to see the directionality. Obviously, not everyone needs to, and it is daylight, so a lot of great visibility. You see the occasional boosts, that timing based on who's boosting when. There is no drift physics in Star Citizen. Oh, and we just had a rear collision.
Ooh.
Could be chalked up to desync.
Yeah, very much so. There is drift physics, but not really with the Cyclone RC. It has so much grip that it just doesn't care. So you're able to basically turn with it on a dime, kind of like, you'll see F1 cars do similarly. And look at this. This is already another collision there. Now, a lot of these collisions luckily won't be fatal. So we will just see some of these collisions result in people just getting pushed a little bit further back. But we have never seen something like this. This looks absolutely insane.
Man.
Look at all these Cyclone RCs. A couple of wheels coming off some Cyclones there. It is going to be
now we
very
get into the
hard to figure out
icebergs.
who's actually winning here.
Yeah, we get into the icebergs. These create
Look at that
national
explosion.
choke points. All the explosions, the natural choke points going through these icebergs as folks try and run a line cleanly and avoid the other racers here. There's just so much going on, and obviously with the ice, some of the slick physics, those folks that are up ahead obviously have an advantage. But obviously you'll hit the side there.
I'm loving the spinning to win. I'm loving it. So what's happening there, guys, for reference, is they're losing a wheel and then they're either being put in their side or whatnot, and that's causing them to spin with the way that the friction physics work. So that's what we're seeing there. And I think that's actually Nobble at the back that we can also see spinning to win. This has been a crazy start to the race, and I could not tell you who is winning. I think I saw Endermaster somewhere towards there in the front pack. It's really going to come down to when we actually get into the city area before we know where everyone is sort of positioned. But amazing.
Over the ice here is going to be really hard to create any separation, like you said. Folks are going to just boosting, doing mostly a straight line, avoiding the few obstacles here and there, a couple of natural choke points. We're coming up on the first turn. As we see this black rock, they've got to all pull around the edge of the 3 trees where that final package has been placed. See somebody pulling that just a little tight. And we'll hopefully see that going in as they maneuver towards the city now. Slightly less debris as they go in this route, but they will have to be very, very careful coming in, not to hit any of those small. Some of this terrain is it's very deceptive. It looks like it's going to be minimal, but it will launch you on your side. That's what we're seeing with a lot of these spin maneuvers. And you can't Beyblade your way through this one. It's 3 full laps.
Yeah, one thing that was actually really important to notice in that first turn is that we had both we had people pretty much choose: am I going in this this tighter turn, or am I going the safe route? There is not a lot of space in that tight turn. If you do take that tighter section, you better hope that there's not 2, maybe 3 Cyclones near you, because it's going to result in a collision. So we did see a lot of people go quite wide there. And here we've got a great view, so we can actually see here, we've got Endermaster, Big Flex, Ludox, Checkleak. These are guys that we see all the time in System 7 and other racing events. Leading the pack right now. These guys are going very hard. Yeah.
And it seems like we got two groups. We've got the central column there, led by Endermaster, but then on the right side we've got Brushbringer, followed by a couple of folks, Gravity Cat. We got a Juan Wick, coming in behind within that group. Big Flex, Quelsar, just behind that first group. A lot of folks. Mr. Zool, one of our support crew. Checked Leak, Sanji Sama, Infinity 68, Dark Neon. Obviously, I may be calling out some of the support staff based on just the names that I can read, but it's hard from these angles to tell who's in the air or not. And of course, yeah, here is looks like our top two contenders. That looks like we have Ludox, who just pulled slightly ahead.
Yeah, sort of what you were saying before, with like when you're on the ice and you've got your boost, it really is just going to be back and forth until we get to the city, which we're actually approaching really soon. Just there in the distance, you can see the building where our turn marker is situated, and all of these guys are going for as tight of a turn as possible. Yeah. And it looks like Endermaster currently is our race leader, which is not surprising at all. An absolutely fantastic racer. They have been crushing it over the course of this last year. So well done to you, Endermaster. Let's see if you can hold it together, because there's a lot of racers around you. I mean, look at them all right now. They're all coming for your spot.
Oh, fantastic angles here, just as the boost starts and expires. Now, here's a question. As someone who hasn't done... as someone who hasn't done much of the Cyclone RC racing, does power triangle management actually matter much as far as your boost replenishment here?
It actually does. Yeah. You definitely want to make sure you're at full power to the engines. Obviously, there's no reason to have power to weapons or shields in this situation, because it's just not going to be relevant in this situation. So you do want to go all power to the engines. You will get your boost back a little bit faster. Yeah, wow.
As they make the turn into the city, so many vehicles out here. This is fantastic. See that lead column start to narrow in. Those folks taking the wider paths across the ice, obviously getting buttonholed in. We're gonna see this column start to straighten out. Maybe a few less of the side by side racing, and get into more of a single file as we start getting into some of these obstacles. And if you're not single filing it, I think you're going to end up paying with collisions, both with trees and with the light poles throughout this section. And it's important to hit the jumps. The terrain here is going to be one of your biggest obstacles. Making sure you hit those lines.
Yeah, now this is really important. This transition here from ice to snow has blown up cyclones in the past. Maybe it's okay now. Looks like we're not seeing any explosions there, so that's good. That is good to know that that's going to be a little bit safer for them. But exactly as you said, we're now getting into the city section. This is where we're going to see people absolutely crush it. There's going to be lines that certain people are going to be taking. There's going to be jumps that certain people are going to be taking. This is where a lot of the back and forth is going to be happening. In that top left corner there, you guys can see the top 10 races at the moment. Now, this is a rough estimation because, with so many races, we would probably need, like 200 staff to get 100% accurate placings here. So we'll see these move forward and back and whatnot, but this is your rough top 10 for now.
Yeah, and just as they make this ascent over the terrain, you see some vehicles overtaking each other, colliding. Some of the shrubbery not providing any collision. And like you said, on that transition, we saw quite a few vehicles getting popped into a barrel roll. And we did see a midair collision on that jump. I may have seen some debris pop off of a vehicle. Hopefully it's nothing critical and just a fender. And this the hill, just sending it bombing downhill from this lip. What an angle. You see those vehicles catch that airtime. You've just got to hope that you don't have a vehicle underneath.
It's very much reminding me of those like marble games that you would play where you drop the marbles down the pegs and they fall into their little areas. This looks absolutely fantastic.
It's a beautiful
like
chaos.
We're watching a pachinko machine or something.
Yeah, I would say it's a beautiful chaos here. Seeing all the vehicles, some of the collisions, some of the lines they've got to take. And yeah, you just, as you hit these jumps, you got to make sure there's not a vehicle underneath you. You got to make sure your forward path is clear, and it's hard to gauge that as you're in the moment. Endermaster, Big Flex, Checked Leak, Brushbringer coming up. We see beyond that. Sorry, I'm just expanding my view slightly. After Brushbringer,
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
got Circworm, Ludox, Sanji Sama, and I did see Quelsar in there at a 9th position, with Fordsworth coming in just behind. Officer Rondog.
Yeah, this entire like first area, this entire first group of people is definitely a like who's who of some of the best ground racers that we've seen participate in events over the course of the last 2 years. So it's completely unsurprising that they're all there. But look at the line now. Don't worry about a lot of that movement. That's just desync. They're not teleporting halfway across the map, but pretty much all the way to golden triangles we have this one big line, and then pushing up the back just now entering the city section, we have Sunny CIG, we have Team CIG. Now, I think we might have another member of CIG somewhere in the madness that is that left side there. But still about half the race to go, or half the lap to go. Sorry, we've got a little bit more before we start transitioning to the second lap.
And we did see one of our staff racers, Zool, who is officially out of the race and switching over to a camera ship. So some eliminations happening. I do think we're not going to see a clear separation until probably midway through around lap 2, and we may be able to just see enough separation in the names there that the certain folks are going to be set up. Oh, just right there, a collision as they come off. Survivable, and I gotta tell you, having run demolition derbies, and the light pole of doom. Having run demolition derbies like this, the Cyclones are surprisingly resilient. They can take several hits before they explode, and that's going to be a benefit. But you don't want to take too many of those thumps on the first lap. You got to make sure you can endure beyond your participants. And sometimes it's not about beating the bear, right? You just got to beat your friends.
Yep. So as we transition to the sort of second half of the lap now, there's something we're going to want to talk about, which is, we saw a lot of explosions, a lot of collisions, a lot of debris in that first section of the lake after the lap. So there's going to be a very interesting situation where we're probably going to see some of the races go very wide to try to just completely ignore every sort of collision we saw there. There's going to be wheels on the ground. There's going to be dead cyclones. There's going to be soft death cyclones, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be very interesting. And I think we're probably just going to see more explosions. I think we're probably going to end up in this massive debris field after the 3 laps.
And that's what's going to be interesting, because you cannot practice for this type of a scenario. The racers know the track, they know the lines they want to run, but when there's 6 cyclone wreckages in the way of where you want to go, you've got to make that decision in a split second. Do you go wide, or do you try and push through and hope you don't hit something that's gonna be fatal for you? Funneling in here at the last of the cityscape, making the final couple of turns, things iron out. And again, this terrain is unforgiving. It's non-destructible. It will stop you dead in your tracks. So even a couple of wrong moves, and maybe some folks using it to their advantage, edging opponents out that are trying to flank them. We'll have to see how.
Yeah, especially when you're getting close to any of the trees or the light posts. So we're gonna have a quick look at the replay of the start and look at the chaos that happened as we first begun. We're seeing collisions, we're seeing explosions, absolute mayhem as 70 racers in their Cyclone RCs leave off there. And look at that spin to win. I absolutely love it. What a fantastic way to kick this off. It's almost like fireworks.
Yeah, no, it's the war movie scene as they're storming the beaches. You see the explosions from the artillery going off, and the soldiers on their way out. This is definitely a battle race as well. And this angle we did not see initially, but you see all the vehicles just popping up, exploding. It's not necessarily a double elimination as these vehicles collide. It could be one vehicle each in that collision. We did see a couple of folks hitting some trees there, getting stopped, losing that momentum, which could be costly. And of course, catching a little bit of a lip as you're mid-air, popping one of those racers sideways, you get a couple of seconds lost on those.
Yeah, 100%. One thing that I actually really like, though, that they changed about the Cyclone RC way back in late 2021, I believe it was late 2021, is that the vehicles now, auto-correct in midair, which previously was a massive issue. So you would end up jumping off some of these jumps at a slight angle, and then you've completely balked your car, and there's no more racing for you. So there is a big advantage to that. If you do get a big enough jump, you will auto-correct, and you don't have to worry as much about spinning out or whatnot. But if you hit it at the wrong angle, it will autocorrect you badly. Like it might actually, it'll get you flat, but it'll start you spinning in the air.
When we did see a bit of its angle there as some of the vehicles got through one of those choke points within the last part of the city. We're now seeing kind of the lead. This looks like about the lead 6 vehicles. That'll be Gravity Cat, Check Leak, Big Flex, Ludox, and Endermaster. So Endermaster losing a couple of positions, obviously running into some delays in that cityscape phase of the race as we get back over the ice. It's going to be tough to make it up. We'll have to run a couple of quick, clean lines.
Yeah, they definitely will. But once again, this is a 3-lap race. They don't need to necessarily go as hard as they can once they get back to the lake, which they have now. They can wait until they're back into the city on lap 2. And they've still got a little bit left here to go through. Obviously, you can see they're basically beamlining it until they get to that last flat ice section. And then it's straight away to the lap point. Like I said, make sure, guys, when you are watching, when we get into lap number 2, look out for debris in the first ice field section and the first turn. I think that's where we're going to see the majority of the crashes and wrecks. But also, we've been hearing, we've been getting some information that some people have been, either losing wheels or exploding or whatnot in the city section itself. And that's going to be a lot harder to avoid.
Yeah, and we do have obviously some weather coming in. Being on the daylight side, we've got the great lighting, but there are clouds, there are snow flurries that are going to affect visibility somewhat partially, and that's going to be a big thing that the racers have to also watch out for. Not only the terrain, but the debris and the weather all conspiring against them, and those who can overcome the challenge are going to see it pay off. Coming along as we get back onto the ice sheets, and man, look at this angle with the cityscape behind, and you see a couple of folks there. Oh, a collision or two. Looks like somebody's lost a wheel.
Oh no! Oh no! There it goes. It looks like that cyclone off to the right, doing the spinner to win it. Lost both of their wheels. I saw one flinging off left, one flinging off right. That's going to be them out of the race here. So even
and
up
he
here,
misses the iceberg just to the right, just to the right of the iceberg there. And we'll see when he stops his Beyblade maneuver. Where he ends up settling.
Now, once again, guys, as a reminder, this is mostly a race for fun. There is, of course, the glory of first, and there is a prize for first, but we also have 4 massive prizes that we're giving out just to anyone who participated. We're going to be giving them away at the end of the day. So everyone's here for a good, fun time. So, spinning to win it, I mean, that's good fun. I like that.
Yeah. The 4 prizes that are raffled off for anyone who participates today: the Constellation Phoenix with the Lynx Rover combo, the Crusader Industries Mercury Star Runner, Gartual with Harmony Paint, and the Origin M50. Neither one of those ships is something I would pass up. All fantastic vehicles at doing what they do. And not to forget, the overall winner here is going to win the C1 Spirit and the Tumbrel Ranger RC. So they'll get those vehicles for them, and everyone else is entered for that just by participating on those other 4 vehicle raffles.
Yeah, looks like we've had a little bit of an update to our top 10. We've seen a couple of names pop out and push in, especially after that collision that we watched on the stream just a little bit earlier. One of my favorite racers in Star Citizen, a member of my community, Herbie, is now in the top 10. Let's see it, Herbie. Let's see what you can do. You've got a lot of competition to push past, so it's going to be a bit rough. And noticeably, it seems like Endermaster may have fallen down in the pack. We'll have a little bit more of an accurate state of where these players are positioned once they cross the lapping line. But once again, as a reminder, this top 10 is a rough estimation of where these guys are because they are constantly overtaking each other, especially when they're on the ice and they're just pushing, boost and then not boost and so on. So some fantastic races here. It's awesome to see.
And we do have some commentary here from uComic. It is a dead race for last place. So they are neck and neck for last place. Mr. Irrelevant, obviously the other title coming in for this type of endurance race. As we look here, we're coming up on the official first lap end. We'll start to see that pan out. We've got Gravity Cat, Check Leak, Big Flex, Ludox, Pushbringer, Aaron the God, Forgeworth, Herbie, Quelsar, and Endermaster bringing up the rest of that top 10. These folks gaining some separation, and I think we'll see getting that top 10 as how many of them actually survived that first race. If you were closer, if I was closer, I think we'd have fewer collisions now that the race is separated, and
Yep.
it'll just be up to the racers to avoid that debris and run a clean line.
Yeah, an important thing to notice when we had a quick look, cameras having a bit of a collision there. An important thing to notice when we had a little bit of the overlook, and Gravity Cat is our first to get into lap 2. But if
With
you
a
noticed,
19 minutes.
Endermaster was basically leading the second pack. So we have this massive pack up the front, Endermaster a couple of seconds behind that pack, and then we've got another massive pack behind them. So it's actually really, really close, especially in such a long race like this. So there we go. At 19 minutes, 41 seconds, Gravity Cat is our first to cross the line. So we're probably looking at about an hour-long race here, guys, for the remainder of this event. But it is going to be a little bit faster. Obviously, they're not starting from a stop position and whatnot. So we should get some,
Well, and
some pretty fast
also
leads.
having a little bit more of a clear run now with the majority of that starting crew. I would say you lost some time there just avoiding other racers. We might see maybe 19 minutes 20 seconds if things clean up a little bit. And of course, we're seeing Herbie and Quelsar and Endermaster coming in. 11th place, Nesrathil and Dub Blunt in 12th. Obviously showing the separation there. It's great to see how close these racers are. Within a second or so, after a 20-minute lap, that does show a pretty good competitive race with everybody coming in.
Yeah, the endurance you need for these kind of races as well is a little bit unspoken. It's very intense having to manage your boost, especially when you get into these lake sections, which can be very boring. Also, I don't know if you just saw. So yeah, there are wheels on the track for these guys to avoid from those initial collisions that we saw. We can see a couple of wrecks out here as well. I think that's an overturned. Yeah, look, they're all starting to stream in now. We've got some upside down cyclones. We've got some blowed up cyclones. We've got wheels everywhere. You've got to have to be careful when you come around that lap.
What the hell happened here? we've seen this one before, and it is one of those things we predicted as we came in. That initial starting area is going to get a little bit messy. Obviously, had one vehicle crash just before, and now leaders are coming into the icebergs. You see some of the wreckage. They're hiding behind icebergs, just waiting to pop out and get you. I wonder how many of those folks have come back out on the ice to pull up their ship wreckage and recover some of those subscriber exclusive items that they wanted to show off at the starting line.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. There's definitely going to be some sort of cleanup effort after this. I want to point out what we're looking at right now. You can see Gravity Cat in front there by when they lapped about 8 seconds, which is a huge difference with everyone in that pack back there. So it's going to be very hard for them to be overtaken here. Obviously, there could be a couple of mistakes once they get to the hills, but they'll have to make a few of those in order to lose this lead. Gravity Cat, another one of the races that we saw in this System 7 that this past System 7 that absolutely outperformed expectations. So another fantastic racer. It is not surprising that they're in first. But with Checked Leak, Big Flex, Ludox, Prospringer, Aaron, Fordsworth, Herbie, Quasar, and Endermaster all behind you by no more than 30 seconds. You got to keep it up. You can't afford mistakes.
Well, and you can easily lose 10 seconds on any of these turns. If you hit the wrong, if you just clip some of the terrain, that lead's going to disappear rapidly. So you've got to be on your game as far as hitting clean lines, trying to avoid those collisions, avoiding debris. It does look like there might be a wheel or something just on the right about 2 car lengths wide from that corner, so something people can collide into. And you see as these racers come out, a couple of headlights going. Great look across the ice sheet with the icebergs popping through. Seeing who can get the line and managing that boost as they get through. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we can see this is the major front group that we've been watching have crossed around that first turn there. It's going to be a straight shoot from here to the city, where once again we're going to see a lot of changing back and forth between a couple of these races. Now, once again, we did change up the track a little bit to keep some of our experienced racers on their toes. These people that have participated in the System 7 or they participated in the event last year. So we'll probably see after one lap, you get sort of a sense of where you do want to go, where you're going to get the most amount of value from your boost. So there'll probably be some strategies evolving here, and we can see just there. This is still one long line of races. Mostly, we can see Space Chameleon, and I want to say that says Grace Boy, up towards the back of this really massive pack.
Yeah, and there is some separation. We're getting some clean names off of here, but we do want to be careful there. The top 9 were about 18 seconds apart, just a little shy of 18 seconds, and then coming in another 10 seconds behind there was number 10. We're gonna see these the separation between them only a second or so, and you're gonna have to watch that because that type of lead will disappear very quickly. You can find yourself moving from first down into 10th place very, very quickly with just even the slightest miscalculated run.
Yeah, it's been very fun to watch so far. I was just sort of noticing then, as they're all on the lake, because there's not really much for them to do other than go straight and boost. Watching the little packs of them sort of move up with their boost and then fall back into the pack and move up and fall back. You don't really get to see that in any of these other races, so I'm really happy that we chose the Cyclone RC for this race today.
Yeah, the boost with the RC is one of the perks there, and do you time it with the other folks? Do you take a half a boost cycle to maybe pull it back just a little bit, recharge, and keep up with that drift behind? But yeah, this is going to be a matter of seconds, just 1 or 2 seconds shaved here and there could be the big difference.
Yeah, an important thing to note with the boost itself of the Cyclone. So while you do want your boost coming back as fast as possible, so you mess around with your power triangle, the actual acceleration and deceleration of the vehicle with the boost, unless you are jumping, is kind of it's almost immediate. Like you will find yourself getting to that max speed straight away, or falling back down to the sub boost max speed pretty much straight away. So there's not much advantage to holding your boost until it's full, unless we get into this new Babbage section where it does matter if you are launching yourself off a jump at max speed.
Yeah, and once you launch yourself, you can really pull off that boost and you can carry that momentum forward. It's gonna be very interesting to see who's able to time that properly, maintain some of that boost, maybe recharge while they're midair, and seeing these vehicles and just the scale. All right, these are full-size vehicles, multiple passenger potential coming in, and just little specks as they move across this ice sheet into the cityscape. And this is going to be the more challenging, the technical maneuvering through the objects and trees, terrain, rocks coming off of these hills. If you boost off of the top of that hill properly, you can catch a lot of extra airtime, and you don't have to worry about maybe that navigation that's going to be a little more tricky through some of these obstacles.
Yeah, this race. Oh, there we go. So that was a collision with a body. I can't tell what
fender.
That was.
I think that was a body panel or a potential fender just kicked off. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But like I said, you'll shave a couple of seconds off with one of those hits, and it looks like the vehicle is actually slowing down. The person behind is catching up just ever so slightly. We just see how they're.
Yeah, I think the other person had a little bit better boost control as they were coming over those hills, so they were able to use that to the best advantage. If one of the other things is, you don't want to be boosting with your wheels off the ground, so they might be, utilizing that a bit more. So they were able to close that gap a little bit. But right now, that person who is at the front, which I do believe is still Gravity Cat, just barely able to hold on onto that lead. Now we are going to very, very soon see some of these races pop down there. There we go. I see one now. These Cyclones launching down this. It's almost like a fountain. Just a fountain of cyclones.
It's the Microtech Plinko machine. That's I think the best example we've got. Coming in, avoiding those trees, obviously trying to find a good ledge, and it's hard as you're coming over the top of that hill. You are blind to the obstacles below you. You just have to hang on and hope you don't hit anything too consequential.
Yeah, I think I even saw there some of our races actually collide at the bottom of the hill as they're sort of, readjusting to continue along their way.
Oh,
this event itself is getting me really, really inspired. I want to see this, but with Tonks. I want to see 70 Tonks do something like this. Like, imagine this section, this new Babbage Plinko machine, but it's just Tonks falling over the side.
I'm inspired by it. I will say one of my major concerns with the tanks has been the handling. These Cyclone RCs are climbing up. Oh, we just had a collision there. choke point, and someone is watching the rest of their vehicle scatter as someone leaves them in the dust. That is quite unfortunate, but these collisions do affect both vehicles, so one to keep an eye out for. Yeah, those tanks. I've had struggles with the handling, and it would be a challenge to overcome. But we'll have to see how that turns out in the 320 vehicle handling update.
Yeah, exactly. One thing as well, yeah. So we did just see that explosion. These hits that they're having with even just minor collisions are going to start building up. There's that many races here that I wouldn't be surprised if probably every single racer has had some sort of collision here. We can see from this view, whoever we're watching at the moment that's racing, they either have some desync damage, which I'm sure that's what they're hoping it is, or some actual damage. It's a very, very rough damage at the front of the Cyclone. So any front collision there, assuming that damage is real, is probably going to knock them out of the game. So they're going to have to be really careful, especially against trees. Trees have a tendency to do a ton of damage to the front of a Cyclone.
Yes, absolutely. And, it's one thing to watch out for. We've seen this in the Daymar Rally and these other endurance races that you'll get 2 or 3 really hard landings or really hard collisions on these vehicles before sometimes it gets pretty risky. Now, you could have an immediate collision that wipes you out, just depending on the severity. And, you're going to need to manage that very, very closely. Getting into the middle of lap 2, obviously a lot of these racers have taken 90% of the thumps they're going to see. Just about running a clean line, making sure you don't incur any additional damage that you don't need to take at this point to keep and finish off cleanly.
Yeah, definitely. Now, like I said, yeah, we're approaching the halfway mark. We can see it looks like Checked Leak is currently leading the pack from what we can tell, unless Gravity Cat was able to get much, much further ahead. So we do have some changes that have happened there in our first couple of races, but they're all still quite close together. Now, once again, we are halfway through the race, roughly. Now, I asked you for a prediction earlier, Red, about how many people do we think are going to cross the finish line? I personally said 30%. Looks like we've still got maybe about half of our races, about 35 or so. You said about 40%. What are you thinking? You thinking that's still pretty strong?
I still think about 45%. If I'm going to guess there, I think 45% are going to end up crossing the finish line. Based on that, we saw maybe 10% right off the bat. We saw 6 or 8 racers immediately losing a half dozen there, just based on the mass of movement at the beginning. We saw a handful of additional collisions and some self-inflicted wounds that maybe have not made it onto camera, but obviously we're going to need to see how this plays out. I think we're going to see some more aggressive maneuvers as we get into lap 3. Folks trying to push all they can, trying to close that gap for the finish, and obviously securing a guaranteed prize pool for that guaranteed prize with that C1 Spirit and Tumble Ranger RC. Everyone else is going to have to roll the dice for those other prizes. So,
yeah, I love how our racer here tried to cut the inside there, and that was kind of what I was mentioning earlier, right? Sometimes you take these jumps, you end up spinning out, you're going to lose a ton of time in that. So sometimes cutting corners, not actually beneficial to you. Now, we're in a spot now where pretty much no one is right next to each other, right? If you're going to be making moves, you're going to end up in this line. People are being a little bit safer as well as they're coming around some of these turns. So any collisions that happen now are pretty much only going to happen from very aggressive action or collisions with previously exploded cyclones, which is always
as
just
they round the box, around the tree with the box behind it, and make their way out towards the exit from the city. Coming up here, this is going to be that snow hill of death that was mentioned before, as they make their way through the rest of the city and out. To keep an eye on that.
Yeah, definitely. And then we've also got this little like pre-lake section where it's not quite the end lake. They've still got a couple of hills to get over. But yeah, we are approaching that final straight here. And once again, I do believe that this is Checked Leak, not Gravity Cat at the front. If we could maybe get a quick overview look and see just in case, because there's been a lot of movement within those first few, those first 10 races. We'll see what happens. But so far, it's been some absolutely fantastic racing. We've seen some really good overtakes. We've seen some really good strategies from some of these races, especially with the way that they have avoided, the large collision area in that first turn, which I was loving to see in that first lap. So a little bit left, guys. We've got about a lap and a half left.
All right. Seeing this angle is that snow hill of death, folks coming off, and of course some debris out on the field. I think one of our cameras just ate the side of a building. That's one of the challenges running a camera in these type of events. You're trying to get the best angles, but you occasionally lose out on that situational awareness where your ship might be pointing, and sometimes you end up colliding with things you didn't intend to.
Yeah, a great view here of that slipstream cyclone paint. So I'm very happy that one's crushing it right now. So they're going to head through. They're going to get past this Carrick, and then that is a straight shot to the end.
Yeah, past the Carrick, in through the towers, and of course, running a zigzag. Maybe trying to play a little bit with the folks behind. Maybe giving them an opportunity to catch up, make it a more challenging race. Maybe there's some trash talking going on. Do you think we've got some good voice comms going in with that tournament group? I think there's still 70 something folks in that voice channel. I'm sure there's some choice words being spread.
I know a lot of the people in the race know each other. They practice with each other. They race each other all the time. And so, yes, there definitely is. At least there is when I'm in there. Anytime I'm racing with someone like Herbie or Diplomat or Nezrathil, I am 100% calling them out all the time, trying to get on their nerves. I might be the worst kind of racer out there, but they love it. I hope. I'm sure. Oh god.
I can confirm that, just in case it was ever any debate. Kranzi is the worst type of racer there is.
It's true.
We see these folks as they continue moving out of the city in towards there. This is kind of the mid pack as they're heading to the towers and that Carrick. We'll start to see, hopefully in a couple of seconds here, the official lap 3 commencement. We'll see the final times for lap 2 as they start trickling in.
Yeah, I will say 25 minutes or so left on this lap, on this race.
I will say there are quite a lot of folks in here. Yeah, the sportsmanship demonstrated by the participants is I'm floored by it. Right, I've been to a couple of these big racing events, and the fact is, you get into the voice chat afterwards, and there aren't any hard feelings. The folks that are in there are they're having the time of their lives, right? These events are fun, and whether or not you win or you place, even if you get exploded right off of the bat, you get to sit there and appreciate the experience. And I think it's one of those things that makes this game amazing. And this view right here, the cityscape in the background, the vehicles dodging through the shrubbery and the ice. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing experience to be a part of, and I'm sure everyone else appreciates it. Getting this size of a group together, also, there's a feeling behind it, and that feeling is excitement.
I can't help but every time we look at this view, I can't help but remember Ludox's terrible explosion in System 7. It hurt me to my core. It happened like 2 months ago now, but I see it when I close my eyes. But luckily, the Cyclone RC, a little bit more resilient, doesn't have to deal with that sort of stuff most of the time. So hopefully we won't see the exact same thing happen. Maybe I'm jinxing it. I probably shouldn't say anything.
Well, there is the term getting stars at this end, right? It's there for a reason. The most unfortunate. And here we see the remnants, the sad story of someone's race that never was. Brings a tear to the eye.
The pure amount of debris around those glaciers is just astounding. It truly has just become a cyclone graveyard at this rate. But we've still managed to keep about half of our races on the board here, and we haven't seen too many collisions, too many explosions in this lap number 2. It was just, once again, that lap 1 with 70 races all launching off at the same time, all turning at the same time. You're bound to have some collisions, right? It's just by the nature of the race.
And I do think it's worth giving a quick call out to all the folks from the New Babbage Parks and Recreation Department who are going to have to come and clean this up after the race is over. There are quite a few individual wreck sites, and hopefully not too many investigations. But there will be some debris. Sorry, guys.
What I would love to see is once we get the larger tractor beams, having after an event like this, you know, people going around moving all of these big wrecks like into a pile and just watching a reclaimer come down and turn it all into UEC. Because one, you know, you got to clean up after your mess, guys. You know, we can't just be leaving cycling RCs like this out here on the lake. What if people want to come skiing? All right, so, and here we go. So it looks like we have Gravity Cat and Checked Leak right at the front, from what we can tell with that leaderboard.
One and two.
So yeah, we're seeing
delay.
some people come in for their third lap.
Yeah, 2.3 seconds between second and third place. That's Check Leak and Bushbringer. Ludox and Herbie coming in about 6.8 seconds separation. They will continue burning through there. And let's see, we've got Herbie, Aaron the God, Big Flex, Endermaster, Quillstar, 9th place. Still waiting for number 10 on lap number 2 to complete it.
Yep,
there
and
we
then
go.
we go.
Fordsworth coming
completing
in
at 40 minutes and 3 seconds, so another 7 seconds behind that. So a little bit of a gap there, but between first and 10th place right now, that is pretty much almost a 40-second gap, right? So they're gonna have a lot of ground to make up if they do want to try to get that first place prize, which I will remind you guys, for first place, that is a C1 Spirit and a Tumble Ranger RC, which I would love to also see the Rangers on this track. I would assume and kind of hope that they would drift a lot with the nature of the ice and the fact that they're 2 wheels, but it'd be awesome to see for sure.
I'm also excited about the Ranger, and can we just give a quick shout out for the X1? That I'm very excited for my my Gravlev space bike. We'll get that one coming in. Again, the separation there, you're looking at 6 seconds, 2 seconds, 4 seconds between some of those top positions. You can lose 5 seconds pretty easily on any type of collision. And do we see Sunny CIG and Noble CIG both in the back there working on their second lap?
Yeah, I saw Sunny CIG there. It looks like they had just made the move from the lake into New Babbage City in their second lap. So there's a very big possibility we see them getting lapped here today. So I want to root for them. Come on, let's see what you can do, Sunny and Noble. Let's see what you guys can do. We don't want you to get lapped. We believe in you, all right? Just go fast. Go as fast as you can. Activate God mode. Whatever you need to do.
Activate God mode, indeed. 0 collision. I think they've got the toggle switch there, right? Yeah, I wouldn't be there.
Well, they seem to toggle it anytime I'm racing. It's the only way I win any races, I assume. So they got to be doing something there, I'm sure.
I just want to say, seeing all those collisions. Okay, we got positions 20 and 21. Dexter 09 and Gracie Boy. About a 10-second separation on that 20 and 21st place. Now, coming in here, again, back through the icebergs, some of these collisions off of the start, I got to tell you, I'm feeling a little bit of back pain, a little bit of whiplash potentially. It's going to be interesting to see how these racers survive it, whether they just choose to take the backspace express and activate their medical claims that way, or survive it.
Yeah, look at this debris as you're coming into this turn. There's a lot of, I think it's wheels and panels that you can see there. One slight wrong turn there might cause enough damage to you to explode you or cause you the loss of your own wheel. So they're definitely going to have to be very, very careful coming around that area, as it was already pretty tight. Now, a quick shout out, guys. If you like this event or you want to know how you can participate in this event, make sure to jump in the ATMO Esports Discord. Crucian has posted it up there. You can find it very easily. You can help volunteer. You can race in some events. You know, we hold the largest community event in the game, the Daymar Rally, every year. So make sure you join. There's a lot of fun stuff. It's not just racing. Like we said earlier, we've got Fight or Flight. That's going to be happening in the next couple of months. So you can actually get your dog fighting in as well. We've also got the Hearst and Hurt Locker, which we aren't going to be doing this year. We're going to be postponing that to next year as we change some things up. So make sure you join in on that. It's a lot of fun. That's how I got started. I started racing in the Stanton 7, the first Stanton 7 ever, and absolutely loved it. And I'm sure you guys will as well. So make sure you hop in.
Yeah. And one other thing to note, there is going to be a highlight video from this event posted on YouTube, showcasing all of the fantastic moments throughout the race. obviously, if we only get a sliver of what's going on here, we have multiple racers recording their perspectives. We've got multiple staff off with active cameras rolling all the time. These folks capturing every moment of the race as we see collisions, we see overtaking maneuvers, we see folks just absolutely wrecking it with these views. This is amazing. There's going to be a YouTube highlight video from this event being posted on the ATMO Esports YouTube channel. So make sure to go over there, like and subscribe, get involved, because like you're saying, Cronty, this is not the only event they run. They run several, the Fight or Flight and the DMR Rally, the System 7. These are all fantastic events put on by this community for the Star Citizen community to participate in. So,
yep, fantastic. I love our producer. I was just about to ask, can we get an overview camera? It's like they're reading my mind, I swear. So here we go, guys. Here is the current state of where everyone's positioned. So it looks like Noble and Sunny are actually in the same vehicle, is what I'm being told. And they are the ones in the base Cyclone, is my understanding. So I am rooting for them even more now. I absolutely love the basic Cyclone. So come on, guys. Team CIG all the way. Let's see what you can do. And you can see that massive line that we've been watching for the majority of the race. These probably like top 20-ish races haven't really fallen behind more than like 3 minutes of the lead. It's been very, very tight here. We can see some of our races that we see all the time. You know, we've got Thorin, Luigi, someone that I've been personally meeting a lot recently, you know, Dexter. But these first couple of races, Gravity Cat, Czech League, Pushbringer, absolutely crushing it. Just not holding up at all, just absolutely crushing every single lap, not losing much time, and not even.
I do have to say,
positions.
I am impressed that here we are at about a third of the way into lap 3, and that main group, there's still not much separation between any of them.
Yeah.
Right? The names aren't they're overlapped. We're seeing a bunch of folks all kind of grouped together. We do see those folks that are moving behind. You know, Rio Torx, Sunny CIG, Noble. Continuing to finish out the race. So fantastic work from those folks that are they're putting it in, putting in the time. And of course those at the front, surprisingly close together. Let's see if they can get a clean transition from the ice up here without getting sent into a barrel roll. It looks like they've got it.
Yeah, it looks like there's a specific spot there that you can take that's not going to push you too far left or right, and is going to send you, you know, nicely into the next section. But as I sort of said before about, you know, this Cyclone RC with the way that the boost works and you're wanting to keep all 4 wheels on the ground at the same time, it can be hard. It can be very, very hard at times to actually maintain your boost in such a way that you're maintaining as much speed as possible, because you will not decelerate in air as fast as you will on ground. So timing your boosts in such a way where the very last inch of that boost falls out just as you hit the lip of a hill will put you leagues above the rest of the competition. And speaking of lips of hills, we're about to once again get to the new Babbage Plinko machine, which I think just is what this should be called for the rest of time.
You know, I wouldn't say no to that. I've got a knack for naming things. The new Babbage Plinko machine, as they come down there. One thing, as you're watching these angles, this is, and he's spinning out a little bit if he can recover there. One thing, you're watching these vehicles take these hills, and it's, you know, while it might seem like it's just a video game, but running these type of terrain events in the Cyclone, it's just such a fun vehicle to drive, right? It's one of those things that I like flying spaceships, and that's what got me into Star Citizen. But I got out into one of these Cyclones, pulled it out of the station, and I saw the nearest mountain that I could find, and I drove that vehicle up to the top of it, and I had the time of my life at it. Just the handling, the way that the way the shocks kind of plunk you back around on the ground, spinning out, doing donuts. It's just an exciting time. And then also with the RC, that boost factor, hitting it at the right point. If you take a turn slightly, you can set yourself into a 720 spin. Oh, and did we just have a vehicle lose a wheel coming over that hill?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that has got to be such a punch to the gut. And this
very
obviously
unfortunate
not
for
the
that to
first
happen in the
time
last
that
lap.
hill. Yeah, not the first time that hill's claimed a victim. And hit by his fellow competitors. It's some of the dangers there.
We've got living debris on the on the field at the moment, but you can
Is that
see
going out to
probably the
another
exact same
vehicle
things happened to
upside
that other
down?
cyclone. Yeah, look where it's landed. It's landing in the exact same spot.
Almost
So
the
very
same line,
unfortunate there.
honestly. If this were shuffleboard, I think that'd be some Olympic class targeting.
Well done,
Olympic curling.
competitor. You did a fantastic job throughout the course of this race. So yeah, absolutely well done. Now, I believe once again we're looking at our first two competitors here. Gravity Cat seemed to be in that slipstream paint, and I think this is Checked Leak just behind them. Both of these racers having an absolutely fantastic performance during the System 7, and still right next to each other throughout the course of pretty much the entire race. In the first lap, there was a little bit of back and forth, especially with Endermaster was sort of right up the front. This is a huge fight for first place. And remember, it's more about bragging rights. But if you can say, you know, I won the largest race in Star Citizen history, that's a pretty cool thing to put on your resume.
Indeed, you know, and the fact is, there's so many people. I'm guilty of this. You know, you talk to your friends and family about Star Citizen, and they're tired of hearing about it. But you know, you get out there and you find somebody who appreciates it, and you say, you know what, I won the largest race in Star Citizen history. That is a notable achievement, something that anyone can appreciate, whether they're a Star Citizen backer or not. You know, getting out there, getting the credibility, and you know, having something that's relatable. I honestly feel like every Star Citizen backer needs to have a little jar there that every time they talk about Star Citizen too much, they have to put $1 in, and that goes to their pledge ships. You know, that's the pledge fleet.
I feel like we needed to play just some very sad music there as the pilot of one of those cyclones stands outside their wrecked ship. But here we are, back at the front as we're maneuvering our way through these little light poles. They're going to be getting to about the halfway mark in New Babbage City now. So once again, after the middle bit, we've got what I call the fake lake. We've also got what Red likes to call the Hill of Death, or the snow. What do you call it? The Snow Hill of Death.
Yeah, the Snow Hill of Death.
Yeah.
And yes,
so
of course, our medical.
Then we've got the actual. Then we've got the actual lake section, which once again is mostly just a straight shoot towards the end of the lap. And we're at the 51-minute mark. It really is not much longer, guys. Let's hear as much hype as we can for some of our competitors. And once again, Sunny and Noble, I believe in you. Don't get lapped.
I believe in them. You know, that's the thing. And of course, our medical teams are out there making sure to check on those racers. The fact is, if you get stranded with your vehicle, it's a long walk back home. I don't know about you, but I've tried exactly 1 2-kilometer EVA over land, and I will not do that again. It is deceptively long when you're on foot. The speed differences between the vehicles and everything else. Did we officially see the lapping of the CIG team? Was that what happened there?
No, not yet. Okay. We still have Sunny up there. I believe Gerbo had a collision earlier on, so they're stuck out in that section. So Sunny can still make it to the end. I'm not sure what's going on with our other CIG team member. They were a little bit further back, so possibly they've been lapped. But if Sunny can make it over, I'll be very excited.
And we see the top 3 here. There's obviously some pressure from the other racers. If you miss one of these lines, you're going to get passed up, and it's going to be very difficult to make that up. So it's about these top 3 who can make the fastest line, cleanest line as we get through here, rounding the corner with the tree and getting out to this fake lake area.
Yeah, we're getting very close to the end here. Who do you think's going to take it, Red? There's still opportunities for them to take over. Do you think Gravity Cat's going to take it? Checkleak and Ludox are right on his tail. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the upset here. I think Ludox is going to pull a clean line where Gravity Cat and Checkleak might have some type of collision. I'll cheer for Ludox in that. Gravity and Checkleak maybe some misfortune. You know, and if I'm wrong, I still appreciate the great event that's happened today, and both of those racers doing a fantastic job. If I'm right, I win that way, you know?
Yeah, true. I just hope all the racers have fun. You know, you can never... Whoa!
Where did this come from?
Did they know that I was going to say that? The comedic timing of what I just... Anyway... So there we go. We've got a bit of an explosion. It happens sometimes, you know.
Let's see the replay. That was great comedic timing.
Yeah, let's see the replay if we've got a replay. So this is a replay from earlier. Let's see if we can get it. All right, here we go. So I timed this just perfectly talking about this as our racers move on through. Once again, we were watching Gravity Cat, Checklick, and Ludox, and there we go.
It's quite unfortunate. One of the camera operators also losing some situational awareness in the heat of the race.
Look, there's a lot of difficulty being a camera operator. We see some absolutely fantastic, like, sights and stuff from these guys, but it's very hard to do that and also know where you are positioned as they're using the advanced camera controls. But look at this. Absolutely. These guys are about to turn right over this hill onto the big lake. We're at the final stretch. Finishing off that what we were talking about earlier, Red. I really hope Ludox is able to pull this one off. I really hope they're able to get in that first place position because of the upset that happened to them on this very track only a month or two ago. So hopefully we'll see that in a second. We're getting a couple more results here from earlier on from some of our other races, but yeah, very, very close to the end.
Yes, indeed. And, you know, honestly, I want to just call out that it is probably more dangerous to be a camera operator in this event than one of the participants. So it's one to keep an eye out for. We see the lone headlights out here, one of the other racers. This may be lap 2 for this racer coming to completion, so we'll need to keep an eye on that. Sunny CIG, it looks like it could very much be them. Noble just behind. Princesna coming up.
He's one of our camera operators. Princesna, one of our camera operators. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So yeah, Noble and Sunny looks like they're going to just barely not get lapped. So, I mean, everything I wanted to happen happened. So I'll be very excited there. But these guys are on the last leg. The only thing that can really happen now from these first 10 races is if there's any major collisions. We might see, you know, some fighting with the boosting and maybe even some aggressiveness where they try to push someone else out of the line. But it's very likely that we have our top 10 pretty much solid here.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this is going to play out with this last run across the ice sheet. We got Gravity Cat, Checkleak, Ludox, Herbie, Brushbringer, Aaron the God, Big Flex, Quelsar, Endermaster, and Raptor. Now, these folks, those top few, they were pretty close, within a couple of seconds of each other. They've maintained that throughout lap 3. We haven't seen too much of a shakeup, but Herbie coming in 4th place, maybe bringing in a bit of a surprise there, coming in with the top 5. Potentially upset there from Herbie.
Yeah, look how close these first 2 positions are as well. The boost has definitely become really, really important to the point where Checked Leak could reasonably boost up in a way that just maybe gets them in line enough to get across the line. So I believe we are right now watching our 2 CIG members cross over into their 3rd lap. Congratulations, guys. You didn't get lapped. I'm very, very excited for that. I love watching you guys race, so well done.
Give it a nice round of applause for the CIG participation. And the fact that the community-driven events have become such a great part of the CIG culture, right? The racetracks we've gotten in the game, starting back, was it 316 or 317 with the Snake Pit? These were inspired by these type of community-driven events, and to have their official support and drive that together. You know, that's one of the amazing things about Star Citizen is the community and the engagement with the developers.
Yep. Once again, look how close these top 3 are, guys. Every single time Check Leak boosts, almost able. Oh, that was very close, actually. Almost
that
able
was
to
very.
kiss
I was about to
Cat
see it
in front of him.
And what a beautiful finish here. Timing just right into the sunset as they cross over. I don't think you could ask for a more cinematic finish to an event like this. The sun just off the horizon on the ice sheets behind. Bravo, right? There needs to be opera music behind this.
Definitely. These guys are going to be finishing any moment now, guys. So let's give a big round of applause for what looks like is going to be the winner of our Grey Cat Social 2953, the largest race in Star Citizen history. Congratulations to Gravity Cat. Well done. Checked Leak and Ludox, an absolutely amazing performance from you guys there. You were like 12 to 15 seconds behind in the previous lap, and able to get it that close at the end is awesome. They must have done it for
Beautiful.
content. There's no way. They must have slowed down. It has to be the other way.
That is fantastic, and we're seeing a bunch more folks hit that checkered flag. We've got Gravity Cat, Checked Leak, Ludox, Crushbringer, Herbie, Aaron the God, Big Flex, Andrew Master, favorite from lap 1, Quelsar at number 9. Looks like Neojet may be coming in, getting that last of the top 10 positionings. There's going to be it'll be a slugfest. I see several vehicles all coming together. It's about who can run a clean line through the last little bit here. And rounding out our top 10 is Neojet. So, congratulations to those top 10 and the rest of the racers who are still continuing on their path here, trying to get those finishes.
Yeah, we're seeing the rest of them come through. I'll see if we can get a confirmation of how many races we actually had left on the track, because I'm really curious to know where we ended up with our predictions. But an hour-long race, very, very much an endurance race. You know, like, it is really hard to maintain concentration and focus on your boosts and whatnot, especially through this terrain. You know, like I was saying, the lake can get very boring. It can be very obvious that, you know, it can be very hard to do what these guys have done. So congratulations, guys. Well done.
Yeah, very, very much out there managing the boost, managing clean lines, managing the competitors around you, and the risks they pose. It was a fantastic race, and yeah, 1 hour down. Again, a big round of applause to the amazing people with ATMOS Esports for organizing, coordinating this event, getting the timing perfected. Right, we started off at daylight. We got the sunset finish. The camera operators, the producers, and folks that are running all of this. And yeah, as just a call out, they are going to take all of the participants, load them up, and we're going to do a send off for Port Olisar with the full server there. So,
yeah, great job from
that
everyone.
final
And
send
look
off
at the
as they
debris.
replace it. Oh yeah,
Look at
There's
the debris
so much
from this
wreckage
entire
out here.
race.
Yeah. Someone's going to pull into this server and just be completely, you know, if you could sell it.
Yeah, it'll be an absolute nightmare, I'm sure. But hey, it's what happens. Hey, look, someone got a tonk out. Someone heard what I was saying. Someone's tried it. They're gonna try to race the track in a tonk. I knew I was right.
Oh my goodness. I feel like they started about an hour too late. They might have their first lap done if they get started at the same time.
Yeah. Now, if we can get a little bit of an overview camera, see where some of the rest of our races are.